there. I'm Papa Joey Stay.
And I'm Uncle Tim Rice.
In this series, we explore the unexplained
and the paranormal.
While I'm somewhat of a skeptic,
I'm a full-on believer.
Together, we take a deep dive into all things that could be considered out there.
We discuss everything paranormal, from ghosts and UFOs to cryptids and more.
Join us as we unravel the mysteries behind the stories
and decide for ourselves
if there is something more out there.
Hey, we're here.
Hey guys, how are you? Welcome everyone.
Everyone is a key word right there. I see one person. One person on right now. That's cool.
That's all right. We'll wait. We've got some new people too. Hopefully, I was contacted later last week about, I had known had I not gotten the notification. Thanks for so it works. So.
Yeah, actually. Oh, Sandy D's on. Hello. Hi, there, Sandy.
Oh, here, let me.
Welcome aboard. What a fun day.
Hi, Sandy.
Where are you located, Sandy? Are you kind of yeah. So we're central time here, so of course it's 2:00. So we do our lunchtime based on the West Coast. I don't know why.
No,
just our schedule.
North Carolina.
You're 3:00 already.
Awesome.
So you're way past lunchtime. You're getting ready for supper.
Yeah. Dinner time.
Yeah.
It's supper back in the South.
Get some supper.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, as teased before our last show, we're going to do our show today on, I'm going to bring it back up.
So Sandy's saying she's a vampire.
Oh, so she likes the night shows.
Yeah, I do too. When I can.
So that's cool. This is today's show. After Roswell. What all happened after the crash in Roswell in 1947?
Yeah. If anybody knows, please tell us.
Yeah, we need a show. We need content. So
we can't wait for the files to be released.
No, we can't.
But that was a great show last week.
We had a great time.
Last show. That was a good one.
Yeah. Lots of fun stuff. And we talked about Lou Elizondo.
Yeah.
It was one of the clips we did from his History Channel interviewing the air traffic controller. Right. And I just happened to see him on the Joe Rogan show, Joe Rogan Experience. And man, I thought it was really cool that he wasn't ever into UFOs ever, when they interviewed him for the job, they asked him what he thought of UFOs. And his answer was, I don't. And that's how they knew they had the right guy.
See? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, that's the way I was back in, the early 90s. Didn't give it a thought. Never crossed my mind. I mean, I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
So people ask me, how long have you been into this? I said, really not long, just until I had the experience. And up until then, we were taught that was all, fairy tales and imagination and witchcraft and juju, whatever. But, but yeah, I like having non-believers that are just waking up, giving their opinions.
Oh, bring back the comments here.
Very exciting.
Oh no, brought up the wrong one. So got a few announcements to make before we even get into it, because I'll wait for a couple more people to hop on, but I do need to announce I'm moving back to Arizona here in a month, but that does not mean that this show will come to an end. Au contraire. It's only puts a few more miles between us. Right now we're doing the show with about 38 miles between us. So we're just going to add a few hundred to that.
Yeah, like
Well, let's just say
998.
you don't even know that we're not in the same state, except I'll be 2 hours earlier than Tim
Yeah,
doing the show. So
but that'll be exciting for Joey.
yeah,
At
I'm
least
excited to get back home. Not that I don't
get out of the heat, you know. Back to
yeah, from one oven to another.
yeah, get out of the hot,
It's like from a
out of the
sauna
frying pan into the fire.
into an oven. That's what it is.
Yeah, yes.
You're in a sauna, and Arizona's just an oven. But it also what it means is I'm going to announce this too, if it's okay, Tim, because we're going to be up there together. But not that selection. So this all started us doing shows and podcasts with a channel called The Truth About Beer, and which I started with my friend Keith back in 2019, back in June. And so this is our announcement right here, is we will be bringing back The Truth About Beer and
totally cool. Now, is Jeff going to be a part of that?
So we're hoping to have Jeff back doing his Guru of the Suds, because that was a lot of fun. We love talking about beer and all the other stuff that we're interested in. So it's not all, UFOs and paranormal and all that stuff. We
back then it was beer and everything. In fact, when we started, I think you guys were beer and snakes.
Well, we started with snakes. Our first show we did out at the Phoenix Herpetological Sanctuary, and that's a cool place. In fact, I will probably go out there and visit it again, just because
I'm sure
there's a lot to show out there and to learn.
But the good thing about TTAB is that you could just have a few beers, and the beginning of the show, you could be preparing for one topic, but it could change to something completely different. It's Truth About Beer and whatever you come up with, and that's what I love about it. It's so spontaneous that anything can happen on those shows, and it's so much fun to watch. It's very exciting. I was so happy to be a part of those shows.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, that's what brought us all together. So it's cool.
I'm looking forward to that, man. I think a lot of our viewers and subscribers and all of our fans are looking forward to that too. Yeah, we got a big group of people that were committed to that show, and yeah, I'm looking forward to them getting to see that again.
But if you want to see a lot more on the paranormal and things that are out there,
this ain't gonna change.
No, we'll still be bringing you that once a week, or at least we got to try. Make sure.
We're going to try to. We should be able to do that. It'll be a little start and go, and while he's getting resettled back in Arizona, but we'll work it out. And I've got some people here that are really interested in wanting to do investigations. So I have a team here, and we can do investigations and then come on the show and report about the investigation, because this place is full of haunted and
it is
paranormal stuff. I mean, I have people approach me all the time. They see my shirt or my truck with the paranormal, and they just come up to me and start saying, "Hey, if you go right down here and you take a right and you see that, and they're like telling me, go down there, it's haunted. But I mean, so many people have come up to me and told me about haunted areas in this area. And of course it is older than Arizona. It's got more history. We're looking at the mid 1800s versus just Indians and
as far as Western civilization goes. But,
right.
When you talk about native,
that's the best. Well, actually, there's a lot of native. Yeah, the whole country. There's a lot of interesting native information I have found out here that I did not know. I mean, I've people have told me about tribes that I've never heard of, because being in Arizona, you only heard about Comanche, Hopi, Apache, and blah blah blah. But throughout the states, man, there are so many different Native American tribes, and the names are just incredible. And they were all at one time huge populations and all over the United States. And it's interesting hearing their history compared to the Western, the Southwest Native Americans. So it's really, we'll get into all that. We'll start researching a lot of that. I think you'll find it very interesting.
Yes. And so, Sandy, the dogs are on Tim's end.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know. Probably a mailman.
Being asleep. He's pretty lazy. But
I was out of melatonin.
Give your dogs melatonin?
Well, I'm going to have to during the show. Or a big bone. You know what? It's funny. I'm here by myself, and it's rare that I'm ever like this, and it's kind of nice. So
yeah, everybody's at school now, huh?
Yeah, school and work.
I'm always alone all day.
Know.
With my dog, though. I love my doggy. Eddie.
Yeah.
Eddie's my dude. Well, shall we get started?
Yeah, we'll do this for people that'll join later, just so you can be educated as to what we're doing the show about.
Yeah.
And
Joey more views later. So
yeah, and Joey and I meet up, every once in a while and discuss topics and what people want us to talk about and what we want to talk about. And this is one we've wanted to talk about for a long time. It's just been at the kind of the back of the order. And I think this one is a very interesting topic. And if you guys have any input, we'd love to hear what you guys think, because I'm pretty much made up my mind on how I feel about it. But, who knows?
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is.
There's only so much you can argue with fact.
Yeah. Before 1947, we had, what do you used to always say? We had the wheel
and fire. For since 4000 BC up until 1947, there was no such thing as a microwave. There was no such thing as a.
Well, don't get too far into it. We'll get
PlayStation or whatever. I mean, we had wheel and fire.
We had a wheel and we had fire. So we had the
some electricity.
Yeah, well, we had electricity but to power our homes and things, and we had cars that used gas, which worked off of fire.
Yeah,
and had wheels. Fire. But things really changed. Well, here I'm gonna. What I need
I wonder what Joey, tell us, why did that change? Why do you think they changed?
Well, I'm going to do the intro.
All right, let's look at it.
Can you see the comments, Tim? Because once I switch over to this, I'm not going to see comments.
No. Go ahead.
So we'll have to switch back and forth.
All right.
So in 1947, the world stood at a crossroads. The Roswell incident, shrouded in mystery, ignited imaginations and speculation. But beyond the myths and conspiracies, easy for me to say, this era heralded an unprecedented wave of technology advancements that would shape the future. So now you can come in, Tim.
Yeah.
That's the big setup there.
No, that's exactly what it is.
So what happened in 1947 in Roswell? What's the story?
There's news stories about 1942, which I don't want to get into because all of that information hasn't been completely released yet. But we're looking at 1947, and this could change. But as far as documents and facts, 1947, after we recovered a spaceship at Roswell.
What's I mean? So what happened?
Well, there was a crash.
Okay.
And we recovered alien bodies. Well, I think some were dead, some were alive. I don't know how it ended up. I mean, I think I don't know if they all perished or not, but there was one that survived for a while. But in doing that, they collected all of the craft and all of the debris, and it went to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and then it went to a university up in what university?
I don't
all their nerds and scientists eventually got all this information and material and debris and started researching it and dissecting it and eventually it became it became a government project. And now it wasn't Project Paperclip.
No, that came
That
before.
Yeah, it wasn't that, but they started a project about reverse engineering, and this is where a lot of
Wait.
scientists,
Yeah, never mind.
a lot of scientists started dissecting and engineering and playing with this information. And right after 1947, I think it was 1949 to 1952, we started coming up with some incredible technology that we hadn't had before. And I think I'd have to ask Siri, what year did the microwave was invented?
Well, I don't know, but I want to do them in order that I have them on here.
Oh, okay. All right. So what was the first thing
the first thing on this list was was more of the integrated circuit and transistors. So
Circuitry.
That's a fine picture, isn't it?
The wafers.
Can you make out those those electronics in that picture?
Yeah. And then came, I think, fiber optics and lasers.
Transistor. I mean, that's the invention of transistor in 1947.
Yeah.
So that was in 1947. Revolutionized electronics, leading to smaller, more efficient devices. Then the integrated circuit, introduced in the late 1950s. ICs enabled the development of computers and other electronic equipment that were smaller and more powerful. You had your mainframe computers. So companies like IBM developed powerful mainframe computers that become central to business and government operations.
And this is all because of, well,
it's a coincidence.
It's a coincidence.
Yes.
But then we have fiber optics. Then we have
since then, I mean, it's just continued.
Since then, it's just boomed. And I believe that we've re-engineered this information that we've recovered, and we've slowly released it to the public to our advantage. I mean, it's a technological advantage that we have what we have today. And my Lord, what we have today compared to what we didn't have in 1946 is amazing. So I don't think it's coincidence. But we have night vision. We have nanotechnology, which is, I don't know if you guys know what nanotechnology is. Get ready. This is going to blow your mind. Nanotechnology is the next thing. Dark matter and nanotechnology and string theory are the next big things to take off that you guys are just it's going to blow your mind what these three things are capable of. And,
well, we don't know we know what string theory is, but that's a theory. So it's not it's a dimensional thing, right?
They are working on string theory, and they don't have a complete analysis yet, a complete interpretation.
Well, so I mean, Sheldon got completely
proving it
burned out on string theory.
Right.
So Sheldon, he moved over to dark matter from there.
Right.
He got bored. So
yeah, but it's being worked with, it's being experimented on, and it's things are coming. I was telling a story to I think Joey about the little things they release from the airplanes, and they come down these little things, get in front of you, and facial recognition and take out the enemy. I just saw a program.
Drones?
They're little bitty drones. They release thousands of them from a C-41 over a war zone. They come down. There's thousands of them, and they get within 2 inches of the brain, and they blow up and they kill the enemy. They explode.
Oh wow!
And they all talk to each other, and they all have facial recognition, so you don't hurt there's no collateral damage. There's no innocent people. And this stuff is like, this will be our next war.
Well, I think
other than our red button.
I don't want to get into that, but
I know. Other than a red button, this is how military wants to design and do, and it's all because of this technology we've re-engineered off of this crash.
so I mean, you're going to jump ahead of our
Okay,
list,
all right.
but it's fun to talk about all that stuff, and I appreciate you bringing it up because it's cool. So, but the next one we had on there was aerospace technology. So,
Wow.
you know, they really developed more of the jet engines, and
Propulsion.
propulsion systems, rockets. So think about it. In 1947, we didn't have a space program, but the space program was just a little over 11 years. Or no, that's 47 or 12 years. Because I think our space program started in 59. Sputnik started in 57, the Soviets, but
Right. And ours could have started around the same time. But
that's only 12 years, and that's not a whole lot because you think about where we were at 12 years before 1947. So in 35,
right.
you know, there wasn't a lot happening between those periods, but all of a sudden we're like a big snowball gathering
Momentum.
and mass.
Yes.
So in aerospace, we had jet engines that was like the early 1950s. Saw advancement in jet engine technology, making commercial air travel faster and more efficient. And Tim knows all about commercial air.
Yeah, too much. Way too
Space
much.
exploration, the launch of Sputnik, like I said, in 57 marked the beginning of the space race, leading to significant advancements in satellite technology and human spaceflight. NASA and the Apollo program, they were established in 1958. That was the year I was born, actually. So that was just 11 years after Roswell. And then the Apollo program culminated in the moon landing. Well, what we're told, and what, I don't
69, right.
And it was in 1969. So I have a lot more doubts about the actual moon landing than I used to, but
I have a lot more questions.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions, but
I don't necessarily
I don't want to
disbelieve it. I believe there's more.
Because I was so into it. I mean, I was so I was 11 years old, when we landed on the moon, and yeah, that was like my main fixation,
Every kid went from wanting to be a cowboy and Indian to an astronaut.
Yeah,
like overnight.
absolutely. That's what I wanted to be. And I've got there was a big color book, not coloring book, but a big it was bigger than a magazine, but it was a full color not illustrated, because it had actual pictures, but catalog, what do you want to call it? Yeah. No, anyway, I still have this big old picture book that's got all the pictures from NASA landing on the moon and all that. That's back from that time. So I don't know if that thing's worth any money or not, but it
could be. Cool. I mean, they've lost everything.
I still have the pictures. I want to pull it back out so they can study the pictures that are in there, because they're from 19.
Lost pictures.
So, yeah, it was from Life magazine. That's who put it out. It was just
Life.
Yeah, big old thing.
Yeah,
like a magazine, but
to be an
double-sized magazine, I guess I could call it. So it wasn't magazine size. It was,
it was larger than it was
and it was larger in life for me back then.
Yeah,
that was such an awesome thing. And then let's talk about, we mentioned satellites because we had telecommunications technology that advanced since then. AI just wanted to put a bunch of satellite dishes on here. I asked it to show me some satellites, which I think there might be one in there somewhere, but
those are ground satellites, but it looks like there's one.
Yeah. AI is only as good as it's instructed.
So I remember a date back in early 2000s when they had an estimate of how many satellites were in our orbit.
Yeah.
Can you believe at one time they could actually count them?
Well, since Starlink, that's become impossible now.
It's impossible. There's just no telling.
Wow. Yeah. So satellite communication. The first communication satellites were launched in the 1960s. So it was early on in NASA's.
Yeah, it seems kind of early, man. You would think. I mean, looking back today, you wouldn't think there were satellites until like the 80s. You know, if you think about it, I mean, we were using them back in the 60s. What were we using them for?
For then, they put them up for communication purposes,
right?
For broadcasting.
We weren't educated into that.
Yeah,
we weren't.
I mean, that's where we had our reporters and that embedded themselves in, like in Vietnam and
yes,
halfway across the world, and they could broadcast the news to us.
But we didn't understand it.
But that's because of satellites, and then color television came out too.
Oh man, so my kids ask me all the time.
Yeah, that ruined the kids. But that was in the 1960s that color television came out. So I remember our first television was black and white that we had, and
our first 4 televisions.
I can't remember my first color TV. I remember having the black and white one.
It was a Zenith or an RCA.
Ours was probably an RCA back then.
And it was confusing. We were just, we sit there in awe.
Turn the dial to,
Yeah.
Well, we had 3 channels, so it wasn't too difficult. It's just there was space between those channels.
And the secret UHF, whatever that was.
Yeah, well, that
came along later.
That wasn't until after I was married that I got into UHF stuff.
70s?
That had, yeah, it was in the 70s sometime. Well, I was married in 78, but
all right.
We still didn't have, because you had to have a special antenna to bring in the UHF channels.
UHF, right.
So it wasn't until I got my own TV and antennas that I was able to get UHF channels, which there was maybe 2 more of those. So it gave us 5 channels.
Right.
Until Fox came along. But I think did Fox come out on UHF first before they were regular channel?
Well, it depends on where. Well, yeah. They called it different things in different cities. I mean, in Texas, it was channel 28. Mm-hmm. Then you had PBS, was channel 5.
I think everything over like.
No, 5 was its own station. 5, 10, and 12.
Yeah, I think everything over 12 became where UHF. I think
then we got public broadcasting.
I could be wrong.
They come in there somewhere. Channel 5 came in and added the 1 to our 3, so we had 4, and then UHF. And PBS is basically still the same.
PBS was always UHF, wasn't it? Or no, Channel 8.
No, it became its own entity.
Yeah,
against the other 3 networks, and it was public funded, and it's still PBS.
It hasn't really changed a whole lot.
No, it hasn't.
So back in my day, it didn't have that. What was that show that came out of? I think it was out of Minnesota. What was the guy's name? He used to host that show, and they told stories and. Oh crap!
It'll come to you.
Yeah, maybe. I'm gonna lose my whole train of thought if I keep trying to think about it.
Hey,
I'm gonna get back over here to the comments because I haven't been able to look at them. So
is that Chris?
So Sandy asked, it could be Chris. It should be because it's Ghost Squad of Scotland saying hey.
Scotland.
We'll say hey back. Let's see. I think Sandy actually asked a question.
Didn't she? It looks like she put up a photo.
So did we borrow the advanced information secretly?
I've got my own opinions.
Was it a secret or did we just steal it?
All right.
All right.
What,
Answer the question.
you tell me your thoughts. I'll tell you mine.
Okay.
You
I'm
go
just-
first. You tell me your thoughts.
Oh, well, it could go two different ways. So if we captured live entities from that crash and we're able to interrogate them somehow, then perhaps they gave it up. But I believe mostly it's all reverse engineering.
I agree with
Oh,
everything you just said.
So that I most likely it's reverse engineering is what I think.
Yes.
And it is Chris. Hello, Chris. Welcome aboard. I know that the chat's really crowded, so
Yeah.
appreciate you and Sandy being
Try
there.
to get you in there.
Yeah. I mean, what do we expect? It isn't prime time, so of course it's prime time in Scotland. Or sort of.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
All right. So I'll give you my thoughts from being in, aviation since the 1980s and speaking with many ex-military, many people. The information that I believe today is that the vehicle crashed. We recovered the bodies. There was at least one survivor, and we ended up helping the survivor communicate to its people to try and get it helped or saved or recovered or transported back or whatever. And then in the midst of doing that, we developed a relationship.
Okay. That's where Chris was going.
And so we were given what they thought we were able to handle, but we also had our own guys that maybe reversed engineered some things from the crash in the vehicle that maybe we didn't agree on. So I think it came both ways. I think they realized we were going to get the technology because we knew how to reverse engineer it. But I also think they did give us what we were able to handle and not more than that, because I think too much would have overwhelmed or created. I think they warned us, and I think we formed an alliance.
So do you think there were deals made to have that
Oh
technology?
yeah, totally.
I mean,
Deals are made. All right, you've got
or not do something for them.
You've got our technology, and we'll go ahead and allow you to reverse engineer it and play with it and use it. However, there are certain points of this technology that will destroy you. So we're putting a cap on what you're able to do and what you aren't able to do.
And so, yes, Chris, and that's where the kids on milk cartons came from.
That's where what?
That's where the kids on milk cartons came from.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So you can use our technology, but we get to use yours. We get to experiment with you. You get to experiment with us. And all of a sudden, children became missing. Because every day when I was a kid, you woke up and had a bowl of cereal, there was a missing child on a milk carton, which does not happen today. And we were used to it. That was a common thing, even into the, 80s, late 70s. Yeah. It was a common thing. You tell kids that now, they wouldn't understand what you're talking about. So I think we've had negotiations of how far we can go with each other. And there's other outside entities of other species that don't play by the rules that we agree to. And they've gotten their hands dirty. And I think by forming the alliance with the ones that we did, they have helped us and protect us from the ones that eventually started doing wrong. the abductions of all the children that had to stop. And I think it wasn't necessarily the ones we communicated with, but I think it was another species that came in and said, all right, cool, you're going to experiment, we're going to experiment them. And then we got to the point, hey, this can't happen anymore. And I think they defended us because we can't defend ourselves against any of them. But by forming the alliance and agreeing to share technology, the other guys kind of like interfered and did things they were not supposed to do. And by having the alliance with the ones we were communicating with, we were able to stop some of the bad stuff that was happening up until a point. Now it's a free for all. I think it's like a, it's out the Wild West.
Yeah.
And I think there's an alliance. There's a space alliance. There's members, there's people, and there's certain things that all of these species are allowing to happen on Earth, and there's certain things that are not allowed to happen on Earth. And I don't know who runs that, but it's way beyond.
Here's one of the possible things they helped us with. I got to get through these so we don't run out of time.
I think they've helped us from killing ourselves.
Here's a big one I believe that we received help on, and that's with medicine.
Oh, absolutely.
So we had, PET scans and, well, I've had PET scans. No, CT scans and MRI machines and things that help doctors.
X-rays.
Yeah. I mean,
to begin with.
They had X-rays. Well, I don't know when X-rays started, but we've
had
after
1947.
I have to look that up to see when we've had our first X-rays. This goes far beyond X-rays when you go into MRIs and CT scans and that, because they're full 360 images that can go as deep as they want them or as shallow as they want them. But definitely help us with in medicine. So let me read what they said about that. So MRIs and CT scans, the development of magnetic resonance imaging, that's what MRI stands for.
MRI.
And computer tomography, which is CT, and those were from the 1970s, when they were developed. Transformed medical diagnosis. Also, don't know where you stand on all this, but a lot of vaccines were developed that were very helpful. And I guess that's as far as I'll go with that. For a lot of especially for polio and
tuberculosis.
And of course, penicillin for gonorrhea and syphilis.
Right.
That was very important.
I'm sorry about the dogs. I don't know. There's nothing down there. But yeah, I agree, Chris. The bad ones are held on a leash now, and they're only allowed to do so much. And I think our next war will be a galactical war between the species and the Earth. But I think there's a short leash put on what they can do and what they can't do anymore. And whoever the top people are that form this alliance, they're stronger than any president or any government. So I pray that, and I do believe that they have prevented world wars. I believe they've intervened in stopping us from destroying ourselves. And I think they always will. I hope they always will.
I hope so too.
Or they could just say, you know what, we're done.
We're talking about technology and war. There's always a threat. People are talking about civil war happening, and I want to go on the record to say I believe our civil war started with the advent of social media, with Facebook,
Twitter, MySpace.
Yeah, that's where the civil war is being fought right now. Yeah. And the problem with it is everybody's overly brave when they're not facing their opponents face to face. I mean, you can do a scathing post on somebody, but if you're face to face with them, you would never do that.
Yeah. You can't physically destroy them, but you can socially destroy someone with Facebook. You can wipe them out. And you're right. That'll be our next war. It won't be with us with guns.
No, I
against
say it's
each
already
other.
going on.
It'll be
It's
with
not our
words.
next war. It is the
Oh, it
current
is.
war we're in since
just don't realize it.
Since we had those. I mean,
So
families have been destroyed, you know, friendships have been destroyed all over social media.
Yeah. Through politics, through COVID, through religion, through everything. It's destroyed many cultures.
Chris is busy typing. Wow. Well, I'm sure.
That's a whole nother show, Chris.
Oh, that is.
No, you're right. Absolutely.
Well, thanks for joining us, Chris.
Thank you so much, Chris.
For a bit.
Always welcome.
Thanks. Yeah, that's exactly what they are.
Exactly.
Keyboard warriors. That's the battleground is online, and the warriors are typing away.
Yes. It's the war of words.
Yes, it is. Well, let's get into some other fun stuff from
the
technology that we received after that. The next one is new materials that we didn't have, or that we didn't know how to use before. So I know it's hard to see what those really are, but those are like plastics and composites that we use in all kinds of manufacturing now.
Not just oil, not just
this is plastics and composites. Advanced in synthetic materials led to the creation of new plastics and composites used in various industries, including aerospace and automotive. And you know what I would like to add to that one? Velcro. I mean, who in their right mind could ever come up with Velcro?
Yeah, that was amazing.
You know, I mean, I can see making. I mean, there's no reason to make something that's got loops, little tiny hooks on it. You know, I mean, why would they make that? I could see if they had a purpose to make it, and then they accidentally stuck it to a piece of carpet, and it
could have been by accident, sort of like super glue.
But what one of them, I mean, one material, the carpet or the fiber part makes total sense because we've always really had that. But what was the purpose of creating the little hook loops or whatever?
The hook and loop, yeah.
Hook and loop that attaches.
It had to be an experiment gone wrong that kind of made sense.
Someone was trying to make cotton candy or something out of plastic, and it fell on the carpet, and they couldn't get it to pull off.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We can't use this at stock. Well, that's a good idea. We can use this to stick things to. Yeah, and then by incorporating, instead of petroleum, incorporating chemicals and minerals into products to fabricate. Like, I didn't know when we were kids growing up, there was plywood and there was wood and there was particle board, but now there's MDF, and a lot of people still don't even know what MDF is.
Makes a lot of fine sawdust.
It makes everything at IKEA.
Yeah, it does. Tried to use that on my X-Carve to do, some like signs and stuff.
Yeah, or out there.
And it makes the finest dust. It'll get into your sinuses really bad.
Yeah,
got to wear a mask if you're going to cut into MDF.
They introduce a chemical into it instead of petroleum, and here we have a new material. And they're taking precious minerals now and creating new fiber materials. Minerals that we just overlooked for so many years are now incorporating into our.
I don't know that we're doing it on purpose, Sandy.
Well, this is just, I've always believed all of this, but never there's no one you can talk to about it. I mean, this is not something you talk to at a dinner table or a birthday party or a wedding or a funeral. You don't have the opportunity to discuss these things to anyone. And when you do come across a group of people like the CE5, I mean, the CE5 conversations will blow your mind.
Yeah.
And
I would love to go to one of those events.
You feel, I mean, you feel not only overwhelmingly surprised, but ignorant, like stupid. Like it's hard to believe the things that come up in these discussions. And the more you entertain them, the more you study them, the more you learn them, the more you understand them, the more you just don't talk to them to normal people. It's just, you can't. Nobody ever told us, oh, we've got a new product. It's called MDF. That never was announced. It never came out. It just appeared. And nobody asked questions. Well, I'm sure carpenters did.
Yeah. You just don't want to get that stuff wet.
No.
It doesn't do well under
swells.
moisture. So it does have its purposes. See, that's why we're doing this show, because
that's why we're doing this show. So to bring it to your awareness.
Timeline.
Things that make you go,
Yeah. Well, I've got two more before we end the show, and I want to make sure.
Okay.
And the next one is, and this one's love it or hate it, it's made life better for all of us. That's nuclear power.
Technology.
Yes. Because it's a very cheap way of producing electricity and distributing it to the masses. And
they have taken uranium and all of these volatile rare earth chemicals and introduced nuclear.
Yeah, that was
and it's helped and hurt us.
The first nuclear plant was opened in 1956. So they've been around for a few years, but I bet our minds would totally be blown if we could really see where that technology has
brought us. I think it had more of effect than
we don't know, stuff that we haven't seen in nuclear. And they're talking about building more nuclear plants, but making them really small
and safe.
They're these great big ones,
Right.
So
that's nanotechnology.
Yeah. That would.
But the nuclear, the transistor, the fiber optic, all of these things by themselves are incredible. But all of these things brought together have just changed the whole planet since 1947.
The whole planet. Be powering cars at some point. Just like the DeLorean in Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Take a nuclear reactor to move it. All you got to do is put a banana and a little bit of beer.
Flux capacitor.
Yeah. And the thing will move.
Right.
That'll be awesome.
So the last one was recycled garbage.
Yeah. You see, it all works together.
Yeah.
You're cleaning the planet and putting out very low emissions and powering your car. So you're cleaning up the junk and moving your car. Anywho, so here's this one has come a very long way since first being in production in the 1960s, and that is robotics.
Oh,
yeah. It's getting to the scary point now. But back then, where they were able to put factories and all that together to make assembly lines more efficient, and people lost their jobs because of it, but then it creates more jobs in taking care of that equipment And I don't know.
Yeah.
But today, these don't look like the robots of today.
No, so remember when robots first came out, they were kind of science fic, and they were like Mr. Robinson, and they were scary robots.
Will Robinson, yeah.
But that was in the 50s. It didn't happen before the 47s. 47
No.
robots came out in the 50s with all the space movies and yeah, we got robots out of that. There was no robot before 1947. I'm almost positive of that.
No, I said the first ones were like 1960s, early.
Yeah.
Um,
And they were very popular one time. They like surpassed dinosaurs. Every kid wanted a robot. Well, then it went to Transformer.
Sock'em robot. Remember those?
Yeah. Robots were very, very, very popular back in the early 70s.
Did you ever
the
have
Jetsons came out?
Did you ever have those toys?
What's that? Oh, Rock'em Sock'em?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You knocked my block off.
Absolutely. Loved it.
Fun
Rock'em
stuff.
Sock'em robot.
Yeah.
And then the Jetsons came out, and that kind of like, I think that was to dumb us up, or to introduce the technology that we've discovered and we have, and to slowly introduce it to the sheep.
Yeah.
Like the phones,
had
the watches, everything on the Jetsons is now true.
They had their maid or their housekeeper. I don't know.
Rosie.
Going to be PC, maid or housekeeper.
No, Rosie.
Rosie, she was a robot.
And they had their dinner with a push a button.
Yeah.
And they had their
with autonomous cars now. You can hop in and say, take me here.
And we have our Facebook.
Where to go, and it'll take you there.
Yeah. We have our watches. We have our Facebook.
So you made that sound? I can't make that sound. It's a great sound. If I had a Tesla, I guess I would like to have that sound.
Oh yeah, as it drove by.
As you're driving down the road.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Have that in the loudspeakers.
Yeah.
That would be funnier than crap.
Yeah. But yeah, everything on the Jetsons is now true. I'm pretty sure.
Well, you can do a flying car. I think right now, the closest we come to a flying car would be a drone type of a car.
Yeah.
That we know
finally
of. The technology that they've let us know about. But
before the drone, it was just the flying propulsion small airplane. But now that we have drones, those are flying cars. It's incredible.
Yes. But I believe that the technology that they don't let us in on, that they have that technology of
it's not
flying
by air.
cars without any kind of propulsion.
It's by magnet, energy
of some sort. Yeah. Or
even, no air, no fans. Magnetic propulsion. There will be no sound. No fans, no drones. It's coming. It'll just be an object moving with no sound due to magnetic and possibly nuclear and possibly, who knows, nanotechnology.
Yeah. So if you take and think of technology since 1947, let's take it in a decade at a time. So from 1947 to 1957, there were a few things that came up,
Microwave being the most significant, noticeable.
And then they
satellite.
The integrated circuit or the transistor, and that was from 47. I believe they said that.
Mm-hmm.
But then you take from 47 or from 57 to 67. How big of a leap was that? Was that 100% leap? Was it a 50% leap?
I think it was still in production, still in experimentation.
But I'm saying from
we went to color TV.
Yeah. But from things we had in 57 to the things we had in 67 were pretty wild. That's a big leap. And then from 67 to 77, I don't know.
I think we were all too,
that might have been
we were all too stoned to realize what was really happening in front of our
probably
faces.
from 60 or from 57 to, or from, and now I'm getting lost in my timeline. But anyway, I would say from 70s to now has been,
that's a big jump.
That's a huge jump. But each year, just think of the computer chip where you're back into nano type technology. I mean, what they can keep shrinking things down. When you look at, there's more computing capabilities on my cell phone than there were in the full building full of computers,
that operated the Apollo
program.
To get 7 buildings, floor to ceiling, with computers, and this could do what that did.
Oh, this probably has 100 times that processing power,
Exactly.
or if not more.
Right?
It's crazy. So,
and now you could fit on the end of your finger. Nanotechnology.
Mm-hmm.
What did Sandy say?
In the mid 60s, I'm trying to think when we got our first microwave as a kid.
I thought it was the 70s, but
well, I mean, that's where I would have remembered getting it. But then,
let's see, that all comes from radiation and things that they didn't know about 300 years ago.
So she's saying commercial. So I mean, they came out commercially before they came out residentially,
right? They had them in restaurants and
consumer. Yeah. Did you hear that ding?
I did, but I don't have anything that makes a ding.
No, that was a message that came across on my computer.
Oh, okay. So anyway, what? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to start wrapping it, but
yeah, that's the point of the show. From 1947 till now, it's something to make you think about, and we're curious to know, what you guys' thoughts are and how you feel about the subject. And we can do more shows about this as we get more into the subject, or people want to know more about it. So, but this has been a very interesting topic. We've always wanted to do this.
We have, and now we've done it. And do we regret it? No. We don't. No, we're always happy to share.
There were days where this was illegal.
Sharing this kind of information?
Yeah. Well, many, 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 many years ago, you could get burned at the stake for even thinking like this.
So true.
But I find it interesting. I hope you guys did too. Let us know what you think.
So much fun. So we'll have to come up with our next topic before next week. So if you have ideas, please drop them in the comments. If there's something you'd like us to cover or talk about on our next lunchtime, we'll hopefully it's your lunchtime when you're watching. I bet.
Yeah.
But you could wait until tomorrow and watch it during your lunchtime on the replay. There you go.
And send us emails,
unless you watch the end of the show to hear me say that. But
yeah.
It's very
send us your questions and emails, and let us know what you guys want us to talk about on our next lunch topic.
Thanks for joining us, Sandy. It was great having you on.
You're our number one fan.
If you're watching this on the replay or whatever, please give us a thumbs up and give us some comments and share this. And we love you guys.
Till next week.
This has been Out There with Papa Joey and Uncle Tim.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching.
Hey, if you really enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, because that really helps the channel. And then share it.
Oh, and if you haven't done so, please subscribe.
Hey, hit that alert bell so you'll know when we post a new episode.
Or if we go live, you don't want to miss that.
Hey, let us know in the comments section what topics you'd like us to cover in the future.
And always, if you have a story you'd like to share, please let us know.
Until next time,
that's Papa Joy.
and that's Uncle Tim.
Beyond the realm of the known lies the mysteries of out there, out there, out there, out there.